and meet me and say, help us to mop the water. No, I say, no, we will not. Me, in fact, I will resign. If you do that kind of thing, I'll say, well, this my guy not tell me for that purpose. Let me cook. If I don't know where I'm going, let me go back to where I am coming from. So, what do you think we can do? That we should always school those that are in power. Just as I'm here now, I am not the best person so far. But that I hope to be talking to a very wonderful, esteemed listener.
We just need to ask questions. Every time they do something, we need to ask them, why did they choose?
But some, they don't want it.
Of course they don't want it. That's normal. It's normal that for them not to want it, but you have to do it anyway. Everywhere in the world, they don't want you because it's just more work for them. Now we have to explain this to the people. Now I think that they want to do what they do, they don't have to explain to the people. But you have to make them. You have to. That's the job of journalists. That's the job of the population, is to ask some questions. Just because you ask questions doesn't mean you are angry. You are just asking questions.
Oh, you are an enemy.
You're an enemy. Yeah, that's another thing that that they may not like. Anybody that asks a question, they treat as like, they don't want to be questioned. But you have to do that because everybody wants things to be moving in the right direction. And if you don't question them, then they just, yeah.
They better go and disgrace himself.
I think is that their fear?
He disgrace himself.
The fear is that if you ask them questions, then you are going to embarrass them with questions. Well,
that's why sometimes they ask you, what are the questions you want to ask
before going in? Yeah. So that's not true everywhere. That's not true everywhere. I've seen leaders throwing questions that they did not expect, did not like. I think one thing that's common in Nigerian politics is that we don't have people who like to talk. Some do. It's getting better. But a lot of people who are actually in office, especially the office of they don't like to talk with, they don't like to be put on the hot seat. And I've seen other leaders. I've seen Rwandan president. I've seen the Kenyan president, especially him, be really questioned, because they didn't like the recent thing he did with
She even attacks cause problem for
but he was put on the hot seat. I don't know whether you like his answer or not, he faces it. You can be burning fire in his eyes, he faces the fire and he tries to give the reason why he does those things. He may like those things, he may not like them, but he's not afraid of, he doesn't feel, he feels competent to be able to respond, at least give his own reason. And sometimes we don't have that in Nigeria. We have that where they run away completely. And they don't want to be.
They ask sometimes they ask security agency who sometimes they don't even know their job again, that to bully everybody out of that so that you don't ask questions. So to me, it's like you are doing something wrong, and you are rationalizing it. It means that you may not be ready anytime you go and disgrace yourself in the market.
But really, it's also like, why now? I mean, I don't know if anybody has asked them this yet. Why is this the policy that they are facing now for 2020, for 2025? Let's just say for starting 2025.
And that question is very valid.
Why is tax? Why is that what we are facing now? I mean, because I guess he wants to generate revenue for the country, generate revenue for the economy. But the revenue that they generated before, what did they do with it? Our president is always telling us everybody needs to save, everybody needs to, except the administration doesn't. They're making all sorts of lavish expenses, they're purchasing, and they don't even buy Nigerian brand cars. At least they were buying cars, they were making lavish expenses, and they were buying like Innoson, and they were buying, I would be happy. I would say, they are showing off something that they are promoting, they are marketing Nigeria, they are marketing Nigerian made things. They never want to do that, and even with that, and even with Dangote, it always seems like, Tinubu doesn't market, our oil, czar, our oil king. He doesn't. They're always arguing. They're always fighting with that company. Why? They promote something that is, it doesn't make that much sense to me, because it's an opportunity to promote something that we are doing, because that is part of. So it's not just about getting something from us, and stepping on the people and getting something from them, but it's also about promoting us out to the outside so that other people can buy. And you think about it, like, the sectors in Nigeria that are successful are not successful just because Nigeria is buying them. They're successful because other people are buying them too, like music, like movies, like things like that. So it's kind of, he's kind of hurting. Sometimes they're very myopic. selfish and myopic in the way they want to do things. Because they've gotten to a point like they just care about their own, like, feel, it's just elbowing the person next to them and the one day. Like, for example, why did we change our national anthem? Some people have said it's because Olusegun Obasanjo was the one that, it was with his administration that the other national anthem came. Arise, O compatriot, that was his. And so Tinubu wanted a different one for him. So he reverted back to the one. I mean, that's such a petty competitive thing. And to make 200 million people follow you on such a petty journey.
But
It's very interesting.
Since
It's
on
very
this,
interesting.
on this tax,
Oh,
I was
sorry,
not thinking,
tax.
yes,
Yes.
this tax. I was not thinking that if you actually want to, you need this tax reform.
Mhm.
I was thinking the foundation would have been, since it's a figure, you are looking for figures,
Mhm.
that's okay. Let people get close to accurate data of our population of Nigeria. So you now look at, you now started splitting it, the lady, the women, the youth, the school. Then you now, when you get all those things, now it's okay, this is how much we need for us to now make this population to live a very decent and good life. We are still having issue with getting our population right, and you now come out and say, okay, you want to look for money for which numbers of people. Why not go to the foundation first?
Yeah, I mean,
start from there.
to be fair, once again, he doesn't dance and he doesn't operate the best dance. Because a really good way to have done things was to first say all the things we're going to be doing, and then say what the tax are going to be, and say how the tax is not going to harm you if you are buying food, it's not going to harm you if you are buying potatoes and bread and basic things, but if you are buying this, we're going to have sort of marginals, which is like gradually increasing tax based on what it is you purchase. So if you're buying Range Rover or you're buying this or you're buying that, then those big ticket items, you can afford them, then you can maybe afford a little bit of tax, taking some of the tax burden and being able to use that to help the economy. They could have presented it that way. But the way they present things to Nigerians, they just always like put it on top of them. Like, this is what we are doing, this is what we are.
But then you like it or
Like,
not.
they're very military.
Communication is authoritative.
It's very condescending and authoritarian. And it's very condescending and authoritarian. This is what we're doing, you're going to be taking it. And like, even the people that sound intelligent, like Taiwo Oyewole, like, he's actually, at least, is that his name? Or is it Oyedele? I'm sorry, I think it's Oyedele. Yeah. I just was thinking, anyway. But but even him, as intelligent and coherent as he actually is, it's still very condescending and doesn't really. So it's like, I think that's just the style in Nigerian politics. It's just not to even, But a better way to have done it, to have going to say what they are doing that is good for the people. That is what they are doing that is good for the people.
Then
And
educate
then
people,
organize
and then
segue into the idea that we're going to be doing a value-added tax, and then say how it won't. Other places, they always feel they need to tell you how it's not going to hurt ordinary people. But then they will say this is where they are taxing. But I think that what's interesting about the way Nigerian politics works is they are more afraid of the elite and the rich people than they are of the regular people.
Yes.
So they don't like to tell people that, oh, don't worry, it's not going to hurt the ordinary people, but you're going to tax big. Instead, they actually want to make the rich people more. They want to make the elite comfortable, so they don't want to tell them that they are that if you can afford to, like you said, purchase this and this, you can afford some of the taxes on that, and that will, some of that is what we're going to use to put money into the economy. And I think some of the fear of operating in a way that is honest and fair and kind like that is because they have dirty hands too. They know that all they do is embezzle. They know that. I guess that's just what I feel. I feel as if some of the reason why they don't bother to present it in a way that is because also it's just the nature of being being not a rich country. Because
is it not a rich country or not a country that is very literate?
That too.
I'm saying that
yes.
Cool,
no.
Because we have many people with degrees and what have you, and then you interact with them and then you realize that there's many shady reasons why that person shouldn't have that. So we're not a reading culture. We don't ask questions. Do you know up till now the September 11 attacks? is still on the forefront of the minds of many Americans. They do their own research, even the coronavirus thing. And as more information keeps coming out, this person will say, oh, Shebi, I told you, the masks are not going to help anything.
And that is different
And
from
But
Nigeria.
that's different from us here. Here, whatever they say goes. We don't bother to ask questions. And probably because we are burdened with just trying to survive. You know, I was reading a vlog, a blog rather, and then he said, oh, that he's leaving not because he has caught the jackpot spirit, but he just realized that he's spending his time or wasting his time doing things that are taken away from his time that he would devote to creativity. For instance, he would spend time to go and queue for fuel. He would spend time to go and things that you should take for granted as being there.
That's
so he realized that all of these mundane or inane activities were taking up his time that he could have poured into his career. So he decided that, look, let me leave, go somewhere where it works so that I can spend more time developing my creativity. So probably it's because we are so burdened with just trying to survive. Many of us have forgotten how to think critically. And then again, don't forget also the cultural aspect. I don't know why we're so culturally or tribalistic. We're also religiously bigoted. Oh, he's a Muslim. Oh, the Muslim. You can't believe, even before this election, that's what people were concerned about. Is a Muslim ticket? Is a Christian? As if somebody's personal relationship with God has any business to do with ruling of a whole 200 multicultural, multi-ethnic, multi-religious, country.
The truth about it is that our political class in Nigeria are bullies because they actually weaponize all those things.
They
weaponize poverty, they weaponize religion, they weaponize ethnicity, and they use that as a basis to talk people against it. They start stories that don't exist. Like some people are killing people in here, people are saying people are saying they manufacture stories and the people take it up. Why? Because they are struggling. And it's just one more thing for them to worry about, and they don't have the means to go and educate themselves, to shout it down, to say it's nonsense, to say it's not. Instead, people just, I think